Before we start this episode, there's something that I completely forgot to mention in the last episode that I noticed as I was editing, but I was just too lazy to go back and fix it. But as I was farming this same camp, which I am still at from the previous episode, I do manage to get a Star Metal Great Axe. You actually will see it at the end of the previous episode. I just forgot to add it in. That's why I went back a little bit in the footage so I can show you. This was the first time I was using it. That's why I was like, oh, wait a minute, I completely forgot how to use it. That's why I kept hitting C, which is my button to do the overhead slash with the greatsword, but it's to block with the great axe. It's been a while since I've used the axe versus the greatsword, so it took me a little bit of getting used to. While the greatsword's light and heavy attacks all pretty much have conal AoE damage, the great axe is a little bit different. You can do much swifter attacks which use less stamina and attack pretty much in rapid succession, but it pretty much will only hit directly in front of you and a short distance away, while your heavy attacks will do great wide arcing strikes that would hit everything, but it hits a lot slower and uses a lot more stamina, so that's the trade-off. Now, this is the point where I remembered, oh yeah, there's a second smaller encampment of Sumerians outside of Mountains of the Dead, so I can avoid the crash zone. This has 4 NPCs, which they pretty much slap pretty hard. The other camp had 1 jailer, which is pretty much useless, and the other 2, which I could take on really easy. This time around, there's 4 of them. Now, one of them is a bearer, so they are kind of useless, but still, with 3 fully armed NPCs attacking me and the bearer, it actually got pretty tight. I ended up having to back up and heal before re-engaging. Now I headed back to the first camp where my followers I had rescued from the cage are being attacked by the respawning Sumerians. I run on in. Now one of them did drop, but I picked him back up. He was still naked, so whatever gear I picked off of these guys I ended up giving to him. Eventually they all pretty much get enough gear that they can farm it for me. There's like 3 or 4 of these guys now that just kind of hang out. I would come back and these NPCs are already half dead. I would come in, finish them up, loot what I need, and leave. But don't worry, that's not going to be the whole episode. Shortly after this, I'm going to be going for 2 of the remaining 3 items I need in order to make the keystone. We're going to go back to the undead dragon in the arena first, then at the end of this episode, we will be taking on the Kin Scourge. Oh, by the way, I do eventually find the bearer's backpack. It was at the camp with the bearer that I mentioned earlier. I do eventually find one, but it did work a little bit different than how I remembered. I thought you would give it to a follower and it would increase their inventory space. I was wrong. It was something that you would put on and it increased your carry capacity. I knew it had to be one of the 2. I just didn't remember because I never actually had to use this before, but now that I am tight for inventory because I cannot craft a lockbox, yeah, I will be keeping it on me just in case I do become vastly over encumbered. That way I can travel with all of my goodies. Now I do test my luck by going near Mountains of the Dead one more time, and yeah, as you imagine, I crashed again. So I headed back to the camp that I had been for the last day, like real life day. But let's skip past all that to get to something actually fun, which is the arena and the undead dragon. So I went back home, I dropped off some of the followers. I left most of them up north. I did drop off a lot of the excessive items that I had on me. I geared up, I brought 1 follower, which would have been Spinus the Marauder, and we headed back into the arena. Now, as I approached from the front this time around, instead of just a few undead NPCs, a couple of snakes, and then this massive one came out of nowhere. He was not there last time, and I did not remember him being there. I got very scared because I actually got cornered with all of the NPCs pretty much body blocking me. I thought I was about to die there, but I do manage to get away and I ran. Now, some of them did follow me into the arena, so I had to clean them up real quick. I healed up Spinus, I also healed up myself, I placed a bed like before, and then we took on the dragon. This time I am much better prepared. I have better gear, a better weapon, I also have a much better follower who is fully geared as well, not to mention the Spectre coating that I had gotten from all of the Sumerians I had killed, and the Sumerian Feast, which gives me plus armor. So yeah, this is going a lot more smooth than last time. I do still have to watch out because he can hit me like a truck. I do have to pop a couple of potions and take some bandages, but eventually the dragon goes down. I have to use the pickaxe, just like the Queen Crocodile from before, to harvest the Star of the Champion. Now that that's out of the way, we still have 2 more items, one of which we will be getting soon enough. Until then, I head back to my base, where I give some of my followers the items that I had accumulated, including the Star of the Champion. Some of them are holding the items for me, that way if I die and end up losing all of my items, I don't lose the progressional items I need for the keystone. So that's what I've been pretty much using all of these extra thralls for, is just bank space. Now if you are wondering, I am currently level 44. I'm putting all of my talent points into grit, vitality, and strength. I figured those 3 are the ones that I would focus on the most with my combat style that I prefer. Also, if I only choose 3, I should be able to get all 3 of them to the maximum level if possible. But now it was time to take on the Black Keep, so I stuffed my face full of hot food and I crossed the Bridge of the Betrayer. I do put down a bedroll just before I reach the end, just in case I die in some way. I don't expect it, but you never know. Now, these NPCs, you can just kind of run past them, which is good because I don't want to sit there and fight, since anytime they hit me, it will give me corruption, and the less corruption I have, the better, since it reduces your overall HP and stamina, and I don't want that just before this boss fight. I think out of every dungeon in this game, the Black Keep is my absolute favorite. I don't really know what it is, other than it feels like a good old school dungeon crawl. You can easily get lost. There are many corridors, and you have to find the boss key, just kind of like a Zelda dungeon. Now, there are spikes in the floor and walls, which I don't remember them ever being there, so I think that's new, but the layout is still the same. Luckily, I've ran this dungeon so many times, I know exactly where to go, where the key is, and where the boss room is. If you have never run this dungeon before, again, it is very easy to get lost, so it does take a little bit of practice, but this is what 2,500 hours gets you. So I make my way to the final hallway. Just ahead there, you will see the boss door. Now it is locked. Taking a left and going through the door, and then taking a right will lead down a corridor where I can find the boss key. It will be in a chest that looks like it's already been opened. Now I also noticed that there are spikes in front of it. Again, I think those are new. I don't remember them ever being there. So I grab the ancient key and I head back the way I came until I return to the boss door, where I can now enter through it. You do have to go up all of these winding stairs, but once I get to the very top, I turn the corner and the boss decides to just instantly go for me. I'm like, oh, okay, I thought you were gonna wait until I get into the room, but no, he just wants to come straight for me. Now, this guy has really wide arcing strikes, and he's got AoE damage that can hit like a truck. Luckily, he is also very slow, so if you need to pull away and heal, you can just kite him around the room. There are NPCs in here that are just undead soldiers, but you can really just ignore them and kill them in the cleave from your wide arcing strikes if you have a weapon like mine, or if you have something like the daggers or the spear, just kill them real quick and then continue on the Kin Scourge. Now, Spinus does go down midway through the fight. Again, because the Kin Scourge is so slow, I pretty much just walk him toward the front door. As he got a little bit of distance from my follower, then I was able to go in and pick him up. I then pulled him back a little bit further, still kiting the boss and using a bandage on myself, as well as giving my follower a potion in order to heal, and I also had enough time to reapply my weapon with the Spectre coating. He can both be the easiest and hardest boss in the game because, again, he hits really hard, but also you can just kite him around, and if anything, if you're into the sorcery or if you utilize the bow more often, you could pretty much just kite him around and hit him from a distance while your thralls tank him or something. It doesn't take too much longer until I eventually take him down, and I do go to the runestone and learn how to make his armor, even though I'm not going to be able to make it. It'll just be something fun for later, I guess, after this challenge is already over. I do get the tears of 2 races from him, and with that, I am now able to leave the dungeon. With that being said, there is one final item I need in order to craft the keystone, which will mean the end of this challenge run, as I would have beaten the story mode of this game. Though I will give you a little spoiler, I will not be ending this playthrough once the keystone is crafted. Oh no, there is still far much more in Conan than just assembling the keystone. That's only like 10 to 20% of the game, but we'll get there when we get there. So I'll see you in the next episode.